This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 53 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network. We would like to thank our sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products. They offer supplements designed to give you the most value for your dollars. Visit them at kppusa.com. And our show planned for this week includes a conversation with Wendy Frike, para-equestrian. Plus, we hear from Rachel Knopf and Lauren Robinson on the Intercollegiate Dressage Association.
Our first test was a little wobbly because I was scared to death. It was the first time I'd ever shown him in any show ring. And so I rode him a bit conservatively, but by the second and the third day, I really kind of revved the motor a bit on him, and he has an amazing medium trot, and I think the international judges were really, really pleased with him.
This is Chris Stafford in Lexington, Kentucky.
And I'm Debbie McDonald in Haley, Idaho, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Well, welcome back, Debbie.
Thank you. It's good to be home.
Well, what a traveler you've been. You've had quite an adventure with your protege there, Adrian Lyle and Wizard. We've been reading all about your travels over to Europe, to Germany. What a wonderful experience. Congratulations, Coach and Mum.
Thank you very much. It was great fun. It's such a great experience, and really, steps up the whole level of competition once you've been over there.
It really was. It was a fun trip. How many shows did you have, Debbie, altogether?
Well, she did 2, and that, we would have loved to have put more in, but, you've only got so much money to spend, and it goes very fast when you go over there, especially when you take into account the shipping alone is, by the time you have a round-trip fare, is about $25,000. So anything over that is a lot. It goes very fast. You put it that way. Very fast.
Well, I have to ask you, since you were flying about the time of the eruption of that volcano, were you able to avoid that? Did that interrupt your travels?
Well, it interrupted my husband, Bob, getting to Europe. He couldn't get there because of the volcano. So that did, it did bump into our plans. And then coming home, it started to, it never really stopped erupting, but it just depends on which way the ash cloud moves, whether it intrudes into the airspace. And it happened to start flying over Amsterdam again, and the day before I was leaving, they shut Amsterdam down again. But thank the Lord that the jet stream moved, and they opened that airport back up on the day I was traveling. So I got home, and Adrian got home, and that all worked out really well. But it has caused a lot of havoc.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I know we've, heard from riders that have been trying to get back and forth across the pond, how disruptive it has been in recent weeks. Now, but Wizard is also back home now, is he?
He is. He's back in Idaho again, and will be able to at least enjoy his pasture and home for about, I think we're home like 7 weeks, and then he will fly back again for the trials to New Jersey. To
Gladstone, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about that adventure, Debbie. You had 2 shows, but being on the sidelines as coach is very different pressure for you.
It really was. Like when you're the rider, of course, you're nervous. But once you get on the horse, it's everything is in your power. You can change the scenario or you can't, But as the coach, you sit there, and now I can really empathize with my husband and spouse and everybody's gone through for years, because, you're nervous, but then when they get on, you're still nervous. And then every single footfall of the test, you're praying, and you're exhausted by the time it's all over. And then when it goes well, I find myself crying, and I get so emotional. It's hysterical. But it is fun. I have to say I'm enjoying it.
Well, of course, you're so invested, that she is truly your protege, and she's like a daughter to you. So I can imagine the emotional investment as well as the professional investment. It becomes a bond, doesn't it? It's like watching your child. Yeah.
It is. It's very much that way. And what was really, really fun for me as well was going back to Judith and Klaus's and having her work with Klaus, and sitting side by side and talking and coaching kind of together. It was like so like going home. It really, for me, he's always been such a staple, and it was just really great to go back and spend time there with them.
So what were the highlights of the trip when you weren't under the stress, beside the arena, tearing your hair out and leaning on everyone's shoulder? What was the fun part? What did you take away, and what did Adrian take away from that?
Well, I think as far as what we did in between, we managed to, Chrissy Clemens came with us as the groom, and that was great for Adrian because they're about the same age and they could, mess around and stuff. So that was fun for them. But, I think, like I said, the weather and stuff was, for the most part, awful. But I think we had one week that was absolutely spectacular, but then the rest was pretty miserable. So that kind of dampens what you want to do during the day. You end up eating more than you should and the wrong things. But, we still managed to make ourselves get out there and walk around. And but like I said, the thing that I enjoyed the most was going to Klaus's, and we also went to Anne-Katrin Linsenhoff's. And
yes.
And we actually we stayed there on the way to Munich. We spent 3 days there. And they treated us like, just so unbelievable. We stayed on the property. They fed us 3 meals a day. And I got to sit there and watch Klaus work with Matthias and Adrian as well. I mean, just sitting and watching and noticing that, everybody has the same issues, and it's just, learning how to get through them and moving on, not holding on to it so long. Mm-hmm. So the whole experience of being able to watch in the warm-ups and watch Klaus and, work with several other students, just was, refreshing, and it makes you come back with a little better outlook on how things need to be.
So what did you glean also, Debbie, over there that you could bring back as a scout for our team? What the opposition is looking like. Did you watch some combinations, thinking that those are the ones we have to watch out for in terms of our preparation for the World Equestrian Games?
Oh yeah, I mean there is a lot of depth out there, I have to say, and to be honest, the fact that we don't have ourselves out there in the world being looked at more, it does make it very difficult to be extremely competitive with them. So, in the future, we seriously do need to find some combinations and have them go over and stay at least a couple months and get some shows in and get that experience, and go over as maybe teams and work together and I think it's very, very important for the future of our sport, for sure.
It certainly is. Well, we have all to play for this year, and I know our World Equestrian Games, select riders that are competing for a place on the team there. All you can do is do what you can do here. If you don't get that kind of exposure, you've just got to know that you've got to up your game here. Absolutely.
It's not going to be possible financially for everybody to be able to go, and it doesn't. I'm not going to say it doesn't make it more difficult in the international judges' eyes, but if we know what is going on over there and what is winning and what they want to see, those judges, then you can bring it back and you can produce that. But it's very important that I think the coaches go over and see it, and actually get a chance to live that from time to time, and don't get stuck here in our own little bubble.
Yes, that's the problem, isn't it? And nothing like that kind of exposure. Well, Adrienne must have lots of memories now, lots of lessons that she's brought back, and I guess onwards and upwards now for the rest of the campaign towards the selection trials at Gladstone for her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, she's a young combination, and if it doesn't happen this year, we are so prepared for that, and hopefully look forward to 2012. Of course, everybody always knows you've got to keep everybody healthy and happy. So there's a lot that goes into keeping it going. Not just the fact that you want to be there, but you have to work for it.
Well, it sounds as if you're thoroughly enjoying your new role as coach and mentor and mum, and it sounds like it's going to keep you busy. It's going to
That's true. I am, and I am very much enjoying it, that's for sure.
Well, good for you, Deb. Well, it's great to have you back on the show. We missed you. We knew you were busy, and obviously wanted to get you back. Not least of all because I wanted to talk a little bit about para-equestrians, because you have a role recently. You've been coaching some para-equestrians, haven't you?
I have, and I have to tell you that they are very inspiring and are great athletes. I mean, people shouldn't look at them and think that they aren't capable of doing exactly what the able-bodied riders are, and their attitude and desire is just as great and strong as anybody else's, and I just am so excited that they get to be a part of the World Equestrian Games.
Yeah, it really is thrilling. Well, one of those riders I know that is familiar to you, and you met her at the Dressage Affair earlier this year, is our first guest this week, and that's Wendy Frike. And we're going to hear from Wendy in just a second after we take a break here for our friends over at Kentucky Performance Products.
Well, if you're a regular listener to the show, you know we talk a lot about Kentucky Performance Products, and that's because they are a name you can trust to give you the most value for your supplement money. Kentucky Performance Products offers supplements designed to target specific problems and are made with high-quality ingredients included at effective levels. The company's supplements are intended to complement, not compete, with your dressage horse's current feeding program, guarding against over-supplementation, and each product is backed by sound research and a money-back satisfaction guarantee. And today we'd like to talk to you about Nalox, the original equine antacid. It's recommended by veterinarians and leading horsemen as a way of maintaining a healthy stomach, which reduces the risk of ulcers. Nalox can be given daily to horses exposed to stressful conditions or as needed when shipping, competing, or during stall confinement. You can learn about Nalox and all the products at Kentucky Performance Products at kppusa.com. That's Kentucky Performance Products at kppusa.com.
Well, I spoke to Wendy Frike, Debbie, just yesterday, and talk about enthusiastic. She sends her regards, by the way.
She is enthusiastic. She is a character.
Well, we're going to hear what Wendy's been up to and how she's preparing with her campaign and her bid to get a place on the World Equestrian Games team here this summer. So let's hear from Wendy. Well, hi, Wendy. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's a delight to have you on. And, we've got a very exciting event coming up here on the Horse Radio Network at the beginning of June. As you know, the Para-Webathon, which we're really, really excited to be involved with to help raise funds and awareness for the para-equestrian athletes heading to the World Equestrian Games. It's called the Journey to the World Equestrian Games. So we're delighted you can join us. And I know you've been a rider now for a number of years, but tell us a little bit how you got started in the horse world.
Well, it had always been kind of a lifelong dream of mine. So I actually started as an adult amateur in my mid-30s, which is a little late to come to the horse game, but I started as a hunter jumper, and because that was pretty much the first thing I found, and learned there, and then kind of switched disciplines and went into the horse trials end of things. And from from the horse trials, I was introduced to the whole idea of dressage. And that kind of led me to para in kind of a backwards way, which I think is pretty interesting for the able-bodied people out there to understand. Is there's a lot of people with mild disabilities or sometimes even more severe disabilities that are riding in the ranks of the able-bodied world all the time. And it was through dressage that I realized that I was going to need something to help me anchor my right foot, because I have mild cerebral palsy with most of the symptoms on my right side. So with the longer stirrup length, I needed something to help me keep my foot in the iron so that it wouldn't bounce out and that the judge would understand that I was unable to get it back in if it did. So that led me to the USEF dispensation program, which is a program that anybody with a disability has the opportunity to use, which is you apply to that national federation, and they review your medical paperwork and determine if you need an extra piece of equipment that you are allowed to ride with. So in my case, I am on my card it says that I am allowed to ride with my right foot and also my left foot for balance reasons tethered into my stirrups, so that I don't have to worry about keeping my foot in the stirrup because I can't move my ankle. And people are often really confused about this program because they think that that it gives us like it tells the judge all about me and what I've been doing, but actually all the dispensation program does is tells the judge and the ring steward that you are allowed to ride with a piece of equipment that otherwise would be forbidden for that class. So depending on the para person that you see in the ring, that could be different reins, that could be 2 whips instead of 1 whip, that could be Velcro to their saddle. It covers a large area of different things that we may need to get the job done, but it does not tell the judge what's wrong with us or what our disability is, and it doesn't make any difference than the way we ride the tests if we're riding against able-bodied people, let's say in a training level or first level test.
If you're tethered in the stirrup, are you concerned that could be a safety issue if you were to fall off? Is it a connection that will easily break in the event of you parting company unscheduled?
Well, unfortunately, I can tell you from firsthand experience that the tethers that I use do. I use large rubber bands right now, but I'm in the process of switching to the on-type stirrup system, which is that magnetic stirrup system that's coming onto the market. But if you do have a crash or a fall, either the rubber band or the magnet, or some people use Velcro for their thighs, it's all been tested, so it immediately gives way and you come off the horse just like an able-bodied person would. Okay. And I can attest to that from personal experience.
Oh dear! Oh dear! Well, you have to tell us what happened now.
Oh well, I mean, I've been riding for 15 years, so just like my able-bodied compatriots, right? We all have those
we
times,
do. Yep.
You know, that things just don't work out the way you thought they were going to when you put your helmet on that day.
Yep.
And actually, I've had some actual tremendous horses as partners. So the only time that I've really ever fallen off when I was tethered in was I was at a local show, and my horse at the time just got really, really excited. We had a bit of a runaway situation, and I just bounced off, but those bands come completely off. So, but people often say to me, "Aren't you scared?" And all of this stuff has really been tested, so that it's actually more safe for us because our balance is more, confirmed. Like if an able-bodied person would think of constantly having to ride without their stirrups, fatigue comes into play. So once you know that you can rely on the parts of your body to be stable, it actually helps your core strength, and it gives you more strength on the horse rather than, being a deterrent of some sort.
That's interesting. Well, you've made me curious about this magnet you say there's going to be available in the stirrup. How does that work? Is that a magnet on your boot and then in the stirrup?
Right. Well, actually, this year at Del Mar, at the Dressage Fair in Del Mar, I met Ellie Brimmer, who has been working with Debbie McDonald, and she rides with the system. It's called the On Tight, and that's spelled ONTYTE system, where they put, so the iron itself has a magnet in it, and then they send you a kit for the soles of your boot, so that you have the sole of your boot removed, and you put theirs on, and it has magnets on the underside, so that when you put your foot into the stirrup, it kind of clicks in there, and then the field of the magnet does its magic, and then when it's time to come off, you kind of torque your foot, and it just kind of lets you go, and you hop off the horse. It's a very elegant solution so that you don't have to worry about rubber bands, and it also helps me when I tried it to keep my foot, straight parallel to the horse. Because sometimes if you use some other way of tethering your foot in, your foot kind of wiggles back and forth so that you're not parallel to the side of the horse anymore. So it's a really elegant solution that the company has told me some show jumpers are using at the FEI levels, and I think more and more able-bodied people are going to start to see this. I think it's even being sold now in Dover. So it's coming to a tack shop, in your neighborhood too.
I was going to say what a great idea, and you answered my question. Actually, I was going to ask you if it was available to everyone, and it sounds like it is. I think there's plenty of people that would be glad of this.
Oh yeah, and it's completely legal. So if any able-bodied person, let's say you're jumping your horse really big and you routinely lose your irons, this is an option for you too. So that's cool.
That's very cool. Well, you mentioned the Dressage Fair that you were at in Del Mar, California earlier this year, and I know that you swept the board there with your horse Lateran in the Grade 3 division. Tell us about that. You won the individual, the team, and the freestyle. It was a clean sweep over there. Tell us about your partnership with him, Wendy.
Sure. Well, I've had him. He is a horse that's being leased to me by Polly Lamond of Pepper Knoll Farms in El Cajon, California. And so it was kind of a homecoming for him because he's shown very many times at that show venue. They were very, very welcoming to us and ran a great show. So I've had Lateran. He came to me shortly after Thanksgiving of 2009. So this was our first show together in March. We'd only been together for about 3.5 months. And it was a CPEDI, which is our equivalent to a CDI. So there was a little pressure on me because I was coming back into his backyard. It was the first time his owner had seen him since he came to me, and he was awesome. He is a 13-year-old German riding pony stallion, and he is a petite warm blood basically, even though he is a pony. But he has the movement and the presence of an 18-hand Westphalian, which is what he's bred. So he marched into those show rings, and our first test was a little wobbly because I was scared to death. It was the first time I'd ever shown him in any show ring. And so I rode him a bit conservatively, but by the second and the third day, I really kind of revved the motor a bit on him, and he has an amazing medium trot, and I think the international judges were really, really pleased with him, which was awesome for me because it let me know that they were going to like the partnership of us together, and it was also awesome for me because I got a chance to showcase him and showcase the breed and let people know how incredible these ponies are, So he did an awesome job.
How big is he?
He is 148 centimeters, which is exactly at that 14.2 cutoff for a pony.
Okay.
So Kismet being what it is, I am 5 foot tall. So he's a perfect match for me, because then I can really ride him on that cusp of those big swingy gaits that you like to see in dressage, but not be overpowered by his mass, so that we're a pretty good team together, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like a great combination. Now, I know that event was a qualifying competition for the selection trials for the World Equestrian Games later this year, Wendy. So tell us about your schedule now, what your program is this summer.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty whiz-bang this summer, So in just about a month, on June, I believe our trials begin on June 25th of this coming month. We all of the U.S. para people come into Lamplight in Wayne, Illinois, and we have our USA para equestrian championships and our selection trials for the WEG. So, and to be invited, you have to have scores that qualify you to be in contention for those spots that we have. So that's in less than a month. So everyone is really on a push, really lockdown mode, getting our skills all buffed up for that all important show for the spots that we have going into WEG. And there is a CPEDI going on this weekend up in Toronto, where more U.S. people are trying to get their qualifying scores to be invited to that show.
Terrific. So
yeah.
Now, do you ride every day, Wendy? What's your schedule for training?
Well, I ride between 4 and 5 times a week, and my trainer, Nicole Glusenkamp of West Menton Stables in Parker, Colorado, rides him the other 2 days just to keep him tuned. He before he came to me was just starting to show Prix St. George. So it's important that the combination of the two of us work on him together. He's been an awesome pony for me, but I do have a disability. So I have to put my ego aside sometimes and say there are things that my able-bodied trainer needs to keep tuned on him. Like, I tend to be stiff on my right side, so when she rides him, she works a lot on keeping him very supple on the right side, so that he doesn't get defensive with his mouth or short with his mouth because of the spasticity that I have in my right side. And so far, he's made that really easy for both of us to ride him. And then on the off days when I'm not riding, I try to get on my bicycle and do some bike work, and always doing some cross training so that my fitness level is up, and seeing that he's a pony, that my weight is down, because he can make me look like I have a big butt really quickly. So I'm always trying to keep really fit, but fitness for the para rider is just as it is for the able-bodied rider, really, really paramount, because we have to keep, just as fit as our horses are, and able, because as soon as the WEG selection is done, then we pretty much have the summer, and then we go into WEG just like everyone else does. So we have to be at our fighting weights, at our optimum strongest, and our fitness level has to be awesome, and our mental attitude has to be right there, just like our able-bodied dressage compatriots.
Well, it sounds like you're going to have a very fun and challenging year ahead this summer. And how exciting is that for you, Wendy, to have the World Games in your backyard and to be vying for a place on the team? You must be just thrilled at the opportunity.
Oh, I'm just over the moon, and it's an important growth time for the para sporting world, because we are now just getting our hands on that quality horse flesh that we need, because the European countries are mounted and have been mounted for several decades now on incredible horse flesh, which I think is just a testament to how much our sport is growing, that we ride the same quality and the caliber of dressage horses that the able-bodied people ride. And we deal with the same volume of movement and that Spitfire attitude that you really need on an international or that special horse that can go into the ring at an FEI level and turn it on. That's why I was so incredibly proud and pleased and humbled to be offered this horse that I'm on, because he has it, and his owner could have kept him and done very, very well at the FEI and the I1 and probably even the Grand Prix level, but instead she gave him to me. So, I'm so thrilled to have this opportunity, and I'm so humbled to be part of a team, if that's the way things go and the gods are in my favor, that gets to keep the door open for all the paras behind me, so that they know that at their therapeutic riding centers or at their able-bodied riding centers that they grew up learning to ride, that they have the same opportunity for this international, opportunity to ride against the best in the world and actually have USA on their jackets and get to turn it on for those judges. I mean, I wish that that I would have had those opportunities presented to me as a young girl, but times are changing and people are thinking, and it just pleases me that I get to hold open the door for a 10-year-old warrior girl that is just now starting their career and say to them, man, the world is your oyster. There are so many opportunities for you. Well, and that pleases me so much.
There certainly is, and you certainly are a pathfinder, Wendy. We want to wish you and Latteran the very best of luck in your quest to make the team this year, and we look forward to catching up with you on June the 8th here when we hold our Para-Webathon. I know you're going to be a phone-in guest for us that day as we try and raise money and awareness for the para-equestrians who are heading to the World Equestrian Games. So I look forward to catching up with you again in just a couple of weeks' time.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and of course I'll be there with bells on just to let the world know about this great program that we're in, and just to welcome anybody that has interest in supporting us.
Terrific.
We as the para team are extremely grateful for the support, and that people are starting to get to know what we're doing, and we can't wait for all of the nation to see how proud that we're going to make this country, so.
Well, terrific.
Thanks.
Well, thank you again,
so much
Wendy.
for having me.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as you said, she's certainly enthusiastic, and we're very much looking forward to having her call in to our Para-Webathon. Debbie, the Para-Webathon, I think I may have mentioned this to you, is something that the Horse Radio Network is hosting on June the 8th between 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern. It's to raise funds and awareness for the para-equestrians on their journey to the World Equestrian Games, and we're just delighted to be a part of that. And Old Tech is very generously offering their studio for us to host that live event. It's going to be like a live TV event, 2 hours, where people can call in and support our athletes, and we'll have lots of guests. And I know that you're going to call in too and send a message to them.
Oh, absolutely! I'm honored to be a part of it and do anything I can to help them get to where they need to go.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a fun summer for them. We're doing all we can here at the Horse Radio Network to support their cause, and looking forward to that. So June the 8th, for those of you who have been following the show recently, I hope you have marked your diary to call in. We'll have a number on our websites for you to call and pledge your support to those para-equestrians. Well, Debbie, I also managed to catch up with a couple of young ladies recently who are involved with the Intercollegiate Dressage Association. They're both students at Cal Poly and very much involved with their team over there. Very few teams on the West Coast, but nonetheless, there's nothing like the dedication of these young ladies towards that Intercollegiate Dressage Association and increasing the popularity of the sport of dressage at college level. And I was lucky enough to catch up with Rachel Knopf and Lauren Robinson, the coach of that team. So we're going to share that conversation with you in just a second after we hear from Glenn.
Glenn the Geek here, and we get many emails every week from people who really like the shows, and they ask how they can help support the Horse Radio Network. Well, you already do that by listening to the shows and by buying from all of our fantastic sponsors. And now you can add to that by supporting us directly and very easily. The next time you need something from Amazon, just go to any of our websites and click on the Amazon banner in the middle of the page. Then go on and buy your Amazon items. It won't cost you a penny more, just an extra click. But Amazon gives us a little bit back just because you clicked on the banner. Tell your family and friends to do the same thing. Every little bit helps us to keep giving you the quality equestrian programming that you have come to love. Thanks for listening.
Well, as I said, Debbie, I caught up with Rachel and Lauren just the other day. You know, it's a wonderful program, this Intercollegiate Dressage Association. Not something that was available in your day, I don't suppose.
No, it was not, and I do think it's absolutely really, really exciting because you have so many kids that, you know, they want to go on and do college and they feel they don't have a place to go. And I mean, if this can grow and we have people as enthusiastic as these two ladies, I mean, you know, this could be something that's quite competitive.
Well, I think so, and as you will hear from Rachel and Lauren, there's nothing but enthusiasm and dedication, so let's hear what they had to say. Well, Rachel and Lauren, welcome to the Dressage Radio Show. Thanks for joining us this week.
It's a pleasure for having us. I'm excited.
Well, Rachel, first of all, let's talk about your story. You're president of the Cal Poly dressage team there, and I know you were already listening to shows here on the Horse Radio Network, so you thought this would be a good idea if we talked about it on the show. And I'm really glad you did contact us because that's what we want. We want the listeners to write in and tell us what's going on in their world. And this is something we've not covered here on the Dressage Radio Show, as you know. So tell us how you got involved. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing at college there and how you got involved with the Cal Poly dressage team.
Well, first of all, I should clarify, I'm not exactly president yet. I've been elected for next year.
Okay.
But I'm here at Cal Poly studying animal science. I've been into horses since a long time ago. I don't remember exactly when it started. I didn't inherit horses, but I loved them when I was little, so I was able to take riding lessons. I was lucky that way since I was 8 or so. I grew up riding kind of general English. The barn I rode at didn't really specialize in any particular discipline, but focused on safety and good horsemanship in general, which was a really good basis for me because I can go any direction with that. As I found here at Cal Poly, I joined both the equestrian team and the dressage team, and ended up quitting the equestrian team. It wasn't exactly right for me, but been having a blast with the dressage team, learning a lot, and it's been a great experience the last 2 years since I've been here.
Well, Lauren, you're not only a college student there at Cal Poly, but you're also the coach. Tell us how you got into dressage and got the role of coach there at Cal Poly.
Well, when I was 3 years old, my mom bought herself a horse, and when I saw this horse, I decided that I needed to start taking riding lessons. So probably by the time I was 6 years old, I was eventing and riding horses. And my pony and I absolutely got so scared of jumping because the jumps got too big and we got kind of overspaced. So I took up dressage at a very, very young age. I was showing statewide probably by the time I was like 8 or 9. And from there, that's been my dream and my passion and my goals, and I've dedicated my life to becoming a dressage rider. When I was 16, I tried out for the Region 7 junior Olympic team, the junior rider program, was an alternate. And then when I turned 18, I tried out for the young rider team for Region 7. Again, missed it as an alternate. At that point, I decided that I needed to take my education more seriously, so I became a full-time student and have found a perfect balance to my life's dedication to dressage and becoming a student. So it's worked out amazingly.
Well, it certainly sounds like it has, and this program that I want you guys to talk about today is the Intercollegiate Interscholastic Dressage Association, known as the IDA. Now, Rachel, do you want to give us a little bit of background as to how that started, some 15 years ago now?
Yeah, well, it started in 95. A Mount Holyoke student Michelle Hoffman came up with the idea. It was based off the IHSA, which is the Intercollegiate Horse Show Association, which does equitation for English and Western. And what they do is the host school, each school has a team. The host, whichever team hosts the show, provides the horses for the show. And then there's a draw system. Each rider draws a horse, and when you get on your horse, you get 10 minutes to warm it up and get to know it and figure out all its quirks and everything. And then you go in and ride your test, and you're judged. So it's really a good test of rider skill rather than how well the horse and rider have, like how long they've been working together or how expensive the horse is. It really focuses on the rider's abilities.
Well, that is in itself, as you say, it's a skill of horsemanship, because unlike the IHSA where they might be jumping or equitation, they're not in such a collected form as you need to be with dressage. So getting to know a horse in 10 minutes is quite a demanding question for you.
Right. The IHSA is a little bit different because they're judged entirely on equitation. The horse could be bucking as long as you can sit there and look pretty. I shouldn't say it like that. That sounds kind of degrading, but as long as you can sit there with good equitation and ride it out, you won't be penalized. But the IHSA, or IDA, I mean, they do judge on the horse, but they try to skew it. Some of the coefficients are different, so it's the rider's equitation, the rider's abilities are emphasized more.
So even though you have your own horse with you, you're not necessarily going to be riding that in these competitions.
Right. Some of our team members do lend their horses to the team for use in the show, but there's no guarantee that they will draw their own horse. And even when you do, it's something with more pressure, because what if the other person who draws your horse gets a better score? It's always a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Well, the IDA, I understand, is affiliated to the U.S. Dressage Federation and the U.S. Equestrian Federation, and funded like any other organization by members' dues and contributions and sponsorship. So tell us a little bit about the membership of the IDA, Lauren.
We have about 35 active members in our school. I'm also, on top of coaching this team, I'm our regional rep for the West Coast for IDA. So that means I coordinate with Stanford and UC Davis. They're the only two other schools in our region. Davis has about 12 riders, active members, and Stanford is brand new this year. This is their first year competing, and they had about 5 active members. So we have a small region compared to the rest of the United States. The East Coast definitely has a larger population, and they've had IDA established in their areas a lot longer than we have. But as far as the West Coast goes, Cal Poly by far has the largest membership.
Well, that's exciting. Now, tell me, with just having the 3 schools involved in your region, then, Lauren, how often do you get to compete against one another?
Well, for IDA, to qualify for nationals, a rider has to compete in at least 3 shows. And we normally there's normally 4 shows in our region. Cal Poly hosts 2, UC Davis hosts the other 2. And therefore, we get a drop score for our riders that are pursuing competing in nationals.
So tell us about the nationals, Rachel. Obviously, that is something you aspire to, is qualifying for the nationals. How does that program pan out, and when and where do they take place?
Well, I was actually lucky enough to be able to go this year. I qualified for the lower training division, but it takes place. It's posted like any other IDA show by a school, usually back east. St. Andrew's Presbyterian College in Laurinburg, North Carolina, hosted it this year, and they did a great job. They had a beautiful facility. And that takes place in April. It was this year it was the 25th of April, that weekend. And it spanned 3 days. The first day was they rode the horses so we could see them work and get a little bit of idea of what we were going to be riding. And then they had a Highland Games Day, which was a lot of fun. The theme was, they're from Laurinburg's in Scotland County, so they were going with the Scottish theme. They had games like tossing the caber, and they had tug of war and a sheepdog tag game, which was a lot of fun. And then there was a banquet in the evening for all the teams, and the the annual meeting for IDA, where they discussed rule changes and general business like that. And then there was a lecture, and I admit I was exhausted and jet lagged, so I don't remember it very well. But because we'd flown all night Thursday night, basically. Got there at 9 in the morning after leaving here, San Luis Obispo, at 5 the afternoon. And then Saturday was the team day, where each school has 4 riders, one for each level: first level, upper training level, which is training tests 3 and 4, lower training, which is tests 1 and 2, and then introductory level. So each team brings 4 riders for the team day, and their scores are combined for a team score. And then the Sunday is the individuals day. Some schools allow their team riders to compete a second time as individuals. We really wanted to increase our involvement this year, so we brought 3 additional riders in addition to the 4 team riders. So we had the 7 riders total, and they competed as individuals. Everyone did really well. We got some really great draws. There's a lot of good horses out back east. So it was a lot of fun. It was a blast.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So how many teams did you say were totally competed at the Nationals? How many schools were represented?
There was 12 schools.
12 schools.
12 regions, 1 school from each region.
Okay.
Actually, Stanford sent an individual rider as well.
Okay.
I think that is not considered part of the 12 from the region.
Well, Lauren, you've got the role of coach over there, and but you're obviously a peer to these other students. So how does that work for you? Do you find that you get a lot of extra pressure by being the coach and having to choose the team? How do you carry that responsibility?
I truly deeply enjoy the dressage team, and I'm a volunteer coach, so I'm not getting paid, which is not a big deal. I am viewing this as an educational experience. The stuff that I'm learning, the methods I'm learning how to coach, like, it's a very wonderful learning experience. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but it's balanced out by the fact that I am learning so much, and the girls on the team are really appreciative and thankful, and I truly see my efforts pay off, which is a wonderful feeling. So I can't help but to get more excited about it. So it is a lot of pressure, but I feel like it's totally worth it because of the benefits that I'm receiving for it.
And how often do you ride and coach the students, Lauren?
I hold practices 3 to 4 days a week. So I'm on campus about 4 days a week, and on those days I hold an hour and a half practice. And then on weekends, sometimes we hold clinics with other local trainers, and I find myself helping out, trailering, making sure the team gets where they need to be. So it's a pretty big commitment.
Yeah, it really is. But, it has to be fun as well when you get that team together and then you go and travel to the Nationals or even just competing amongst your region, because there must be quite some rivalry there within your region, especially with just the 3 teams, right?
Friendly rivalry.
Friendly rivalry. So tell us a little bit about your ambitions then, Rachel, as a student now, but obviously got the bug with dressage. Where do you hope to go from here? Having obviously vying for young rider, competing at young rider level, that has to be a stepping stone. So where are you heading with your career?
I am headed. Actually, I'm still an amateur. So my goals are, right now I have a 17-year-old horse that I'm schooling pre-St. George with. I haven't really showed him, so I'm not planning on showing him very much. I kind of got a little overwhelmed and overshowed, so I'm taking a break from that, just honing my skills, working on developing myself as a rider and as a trainer. I'm actually pursuing vet school. I'm planning on applying to veterinary school not this fall, but for next fall. So right now my main focus is getting those grades high enough to apply, and from there, after vet school, continue riding through vet school, maybe after vet school. school, do some coaching on the side. I really don't know where I will end up in my dressage. I know that I will be a rider for the rest of my life, but I don't know where I'll be coaching, training a few years from now.
So who are your role models in the sport then? Who was it you were watching that inspired you to be a dressage rider?
I've actually been very lucky, and I have had an amazing coach. Her name's Ellen Eckstein. She's from the area. She was longlisted in the '84 Olympics, and I've been working with her since I was 8 years old, and she's really successfully combined natural horsemanship with dressage, and the ideas and the foundations that she has given me are amazing and have allowed me to be as successful as I am. And so luckily my horse is at her place, so I still ride with her. So she's really been my motivation, my aspiration, and she's been the trainer that's gotten me there. As far as trainers or riders in the Olympics, I would have to say that Edward Gall is by far my favorite rider. The picture that he makes when he's on a horse is just so harmonic and beautiful that he's another big inspiration for me as well.
Well, I hope you heard him when he was a guest here on the Dressage Radio Show.
I did not, but I'm going to go listen to it tonight.
There you go. Go back onto the website, dressageradio.com, and you will find an episode a few weeks ago now. I talked to Edward, and, of course, you'll learn a lot about Totilas as well on that show. Well, but Lauren, just coming back to you briefly, as a coach at this stage in your career, does this inspire you to become a professional coach, or what are you going to do with your career?
Like I said, I'm applying to vet school, so I don't know where I will be. I don't know if I will be a professional rider or not, or a professional coach. I have to see how vet school goes and see where I am in a few years. But dressage definitely will be with me the rest of my life.
Well, so, Lauren, you obviously have got... you've got yourself in a really good place there, and you must be ambitious with that team. Tell us a little bit about what is next for them.
What's next for the team is it's wonderful to see the freshmen come in and to just see the growth of the team. The first year I've been at Cal Poly coaching this team for 4 years. So over the last 4 years, I've just seen so much growth, so much potential. Our placings at nationals have just gotten exponentially better every year since we've gone. So my goal is to be one of those power schools in California that gets known as being a dressage school. There are those schools in the nation that attract dressage riders, attract riders in general, and it would be wonderful to see Cal Poly be one of those schools.
And Rachel, how about you? What's next for you?
For my goal for the team?
Yes, what's your goal now? Having done the nationals, what next for you?
Well, in my presidency, I hope to see the team continue improving its riding abilities and its placings in nationals. It's really exciting getting 8th place this year. We've improved off. I don't know what we had gotten last year. Lauren, can you step in?
Yeah, we got 11th out of 12th. So last year was 11th. This year was 8th. So we've done nothing but
jumped
get
up
better.
3 places. So that was exciting for us. Hopefully next year we can make another jump like that. Also, I'd like to see the team. I'd really like to get a sponsor for the team. Right now we run entirely off the little funding the school gives us and our own dues and contributions from our parents. But it'd be great if we could get a sponsor to help us out so we can get more clinics and we can really improve our abilities through a variety of trainers. That would be a lot of really helpful, I think. I'd also like to see another team start up in our region. It'd be great if we could have 4 teams or 3 other teams to compete against rather than just 2. I mean, we love Stanford and Davis. A little more the merrier, right? So
How about Fresno?
Other schools and
Well, how about Fresno? Is that an option?
we've been talking to Fresno. I think there might be some problem with them being NCAA, but we'll try to figure that out and see if we can get them to start a team. So I know they do have NCAA equestrian team, so I know they have riders over there. But yeah, so if there's any other school in California that would like start a team, contact us so we can help you get started.
Well, we'll put a link on our website, of course, to your website over there at Cal Poly and also to the IDA. And hopefully you'll get some interest from this. And I hope you'll come back on the show and give us an update from time to time as to how your team is doing. And, maybe this will inspire others to join in, and you will get more teams in your region too. And hopefully sponsorship too as well for both of you. As you mentioned, that's really going to be an enormous help to you since you are a membership-based organization, and I'm guessing that you pay out of your own pocket to attend things like the Nationals, to travel.
Yeah, well, the team was able to cover our hotel and our rental car, fortunately. We had enough funds for that, but we all did pay our own plane ticket, which is kind of a stab in the wallet there.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
All the way across the country.
I'm sure it was. Well, we want to wish you the very best of luck, both of you, with your endeavours, with the club, of course, and with your own personal dressage ambitions. And thank you again so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Well, again, they really have all the enthusiasm and dedication to increase this program, Debbie. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you start a program, and there's nothing like the energy and dedication of the youth to really get exposure to something at that level. If they're that enthusiastic when they're teenagers, this only bodes well, doesn't it, to build a program and to get it into more colleges around the country.
That is for sure. I mean, the dedication and the enthusiasm is what it takes to go on and make the dreams happen. And these two definitely sound like they're on their way. And I hope it really, is successful for them. Well,
we wish them the very best of luck. And, just last week on the show, Debbie, we heard from Isabel Liebler, a pony rider, junior she is. She's just 15. And we wonder if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, those of you who listen to the show regularly or might have missed last week's show, I urge you to go back and listen to that. We were blessed to have Mary Lartson, who's my co-host last week. And Mary's doing a great job. She's actually starting this new Young Rider segment, Debbie, and she chose Isabel Liebler as her first guest. And I was just amazed. She was talking to Isabel. We found out that Isabel has been competing in dressage for 10 years. She started when she was 5 years old.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Isn't that amazing?
That is fabulous.
So we were delighted to have Isabel on the show last week. Go back and take a listen if any of you missed that. And we are also going to be watching and following Isabel. We encouraged her to get onto Twitter and to tweet her journey. She, too, is leaving this week, I believe, for Germany for a few weeks. She's going to be like you. She's going to be over there for a few weeks competing with 2 ponies.
Oh, fabulous. What an opportunity. That is so exciting.
It really is. And, we wish her the very best of luck, Isabel, if you're listening again. I know you'll probably be getting on the road on that journey
Good luck.
that Debbie has just taken. And I know she's going to be blogging, I think, for one of the magazines. She's going to be blogging and for one of the federations. So we will be following on a blog and we'll be following her on Twitter. But you know what, Deb? It really speaks to the enthusiasm of youth. We talk about the Intercollegiate Dressage Association, and these young people, starting at the age of 5, apparently, Isabel said to her mum, she saw some dressage and she says, I want to do that. Can you believe it?
But I know, and that's what so many of these other top countries have going for them, and it's just so exciting to hear that, we have something that, or someone that's even maybe starting to set an example and maybe becomes a very strong role model. And so I'm excited and wish her the best of luck.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have her come back on the show and tell us all about it when she gets back from Germany. Well, you're off on your travels again in a few weeks. Debbie, where are you off to next? Now, you're doing this developing clinic tour, aren't you?
I am, and I'm very excited about it. It sounds like we're having a strong turnout, and the one in California I've had to lengthen to 4 days, so that's very exciting. And then I think I'm in Gladstone twice before the trials doing developing clinics, and going to the Developing Horse Championships as well. So that is going to be very fun. I've got a lot coming up.
You certainly have. Now, where are the Developing Horse Championships, Deb?
At Lamplight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
heading there. I'll be heading there and then directly to Gladstone from there. I'll meet up with Adrian.
Terrific, terrific. And any plans to come to Lexington, Kentucky anytime soon?
Well, I'm hoping I might be there in September.
Yeah, so I know that was definitely on your, penciled in. But
that's always something we're hoping for. But other than that, no, I don't have anything planned as far as clinics go that are in the Kentucky area.
Okay, well, hopefully we will catch up with you and get to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. I think it was World Cup last time I saw you. Well,
are you coming into the trials?
It's possible. It's not definite, but it's possible. And there's so much going on this year, of course, in Kentucky with the build-up to the games. And I also want to mention that actually on next week's show, I'm going to be reporting from the Kentucky Dressage Association, CDI, that they're having just this weekend in the Kentucky Horse Park here. So we'll be covering that here on the Dressage Radio Show, and lots of other things going on here. Debbie, it's we're spoilt for choice. There's so much happening.
That's right. I mean, that's not a bad place to be.
It isn't. Well, we certainly hope we get you over here in the near future, and if not before, then certainly at the World Equestrian Games. I know you'll be an important part. You'll be an important spectator, with or without the stress of being a coach.
That's right. Absolutely. I'll be rooting for whoever's on the team, that's for sure.
I know you will, Deb. Well, safe travels to you as we come to the end of the show here, Deb. Well, we do want to remind everybody how to reach us, of course, so you can follow our show notes on dressageradio.com. Follow us on Facebook, of course. We have a fan page there. And you can also keep up with us on Twitter as ever, at Horse Radio, and you can follow me, Chris E. Stafford. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for Debbie or myself, make sure you email those to me, chris@horseradionetwork.com, or you can leave a voicemail if you prefer, 270-803-0025. I want to thank our sponsors here, Kentucky Performance Products, who make this show possible, and our backstage crew, Glenn the Geek and Brian, who get this show turned around every week for you. I will be back here, same time, same place next week, and I want to thank Debbie again for joining us. Don't forget, you can follow Debbie. I mean, you make the news anyway, Debbie, don't you, with press releases from the USEF with all your travels?
Well, they've been pretty good about keeping up now that we've got the program in place. So I think that, I think people can pretty much get a clue where I am.
Absolutely. All right, Debbie. Well, as always, it's a joy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being with us. Have safe travels and come back and see us in a few weeks.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And don't forget to practice safe riding.